Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dee Reinhardt. I'm with Illinois WorkNet, and today we have our open office technical assistance Let's Answer Your Questions event. And I am going to record it because I do have a couple of new things to show you that have been placed into our test environment, and we hope to have them pushed out to production by next week, which will be beneficial for everyone. So the first thing that I want to show you is that on the grantees information for the work plan and reports, you will now be able to enter which grant you are writing the work plan for. So that will be very useful. This will be pushed to production, hopefully today or tomorrow, but you'll have it for sure for next week, and we'll be able to get that updated. And then just as a reminder, if you have not already, the quarterly narrative information can be added down here at the very bottom after you select which work plan you want to update. So that's the first spot. And then on the grantee info, I enter and keep track of the grants for you so that if there is a date extension, the dollar amount, we put that information in there. And then based on these grants that are entered here, on the intake review for the customer, you will be able to add the grant to the enrollment for that particular customer. So you may, depending on how many people you have, you may want to go back and select the grant for the 19 grantees if you have both 19 and 21 grants, so that you can keep those people separated. What we will be doing is adding a search filter in a couple of spots so that if you want to filter by grant number, you'll be able to do that. We want to get the selection process out first, and then we will update the filtering portion of it. So are there any questions about adding this grant information on here? And I know a couple of you joined us late, so I did record this and we will go over that, or you can watch the recording. All right, I'm done with that. I did have a couple of questions by email, and they were so close to today that I just suggested that you join the webinar to ask your questions. That's what the purpose of this webinar is for. Please refrain from asking questions about specific individuals so that we don't have to worry about PII on the recording. We can, however, end the recording and then you can ask your individualized questions. I just don't want to record that information. Okay, so are there any questions? How do I add me to the system? How do I add you to the system? Betty, I'm not quite sure what that question is. How do you add the program to the system? Your program is already added. It's done on the back end. So your program, I am in test, your program should be in production and it should be listed. So if you go to apprenticeship, if you happen to have access to more than one program, your apprenticeship Illinois program will pop up right here. And there should be users associated with your project in the apprenticeship program. And Betty, if you have a microphone on your computer, you are welcome to unmute yourself and clarify if I'm misunderstanding what you typed.
Yes, that is directly what I am. You just answered the question, so I shall go into the group because I do have more than one organization. And when I went in to try to put in my report, I could not identify Apprenticeship Illinois. It did not show up in my groups. Only the one other program that I'm in, but I could not find Apprenticeship Illinois. So it looks like I need to go to the groups tab instead of the provider's information.
Well, you need to start out at the groups tab and then select Apprenticeship Illinois. Do you have that in your groups?
That I will have to go and I will check that out as I'm listening to you moving further.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
I can always check the user management to make sure that you have access to it.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Who else has a question?
I have a few questions. This is Emily Perks.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't know, Erica and we were reviewing some things in Illinois WorkNet, and, as we're new to the apprenticeship programs and the grants, are we going to cover, or maybe where can we find more information on the requirements for career plans, the worksite evaluations, assessments, and case notes? Those are kind of our questions for today.
Okay, so we do have a partner page, and I'll put this in the chat. And on this page, now, process and procedures are different than instructions. So I have instructions on here of how to do what you have to do, but Chase might be able to answer more completely for you what the grantee requirements are if you don't see them in your contract.
Okay, yeah, I think the requirements is more my question, so I can ask him that too.
Yeah, Emily, go ahead and just shoot me an email with that,
Oh,
please.
sorry, I didn't know you were on here.
No, that's okay.
Yes, I'll do that, Chase.
Thank you.
So if you go to, I can go to a customer and show you if you have a customer enrolled on their career plan, there is one goal set up for each participant. That's a pre-populated goal, and it is a participate in the Apprenticeship Illinois program. And it comes with one pre-populated step. So you can add additional steps and services to your customers based upon adding them to this goal. If I add a wrap, so I'm going to look for wrap. If I add a wrap to a customer, I add that, and then it also asks me which of these other options will I also be doing, because they need to be associated with that wrap. So maybe they're going to do on-the-job training, private sector, and they're going to do some skill upgrading and retraining. And you mark those, and that adds all three of those services to this customer's profile, and then you can edit them within the tool. Now, when it comes to doing a work site evaluation and different things like that, maybe they need a TABE test, or maybe they need a Casey Life Skills, or whatever it is that you're providing for them. On the left-hand menu of each of the pages, we have additional resources available for this particular customer. So you can go to the assessments, and see the different assessments that are available. You can go to the case notes and write your case notes that are not associated with a particular, some automatic case notes come up. Like when you add that service to that customer's career plan, you will be automatically triggered to write a case note. But you might want to add communication case notes, like you just talked to this customer today about X, Y, and Z, and you want to notate it in their file so that it's there. We also have services that's going to back to the career plan. We have work sites. So for example, if you need to add a customer to some subsidized employment because they don't have any work experience at all, or you just need to give them some basic work experience because they're new to the employment world, then you can add that. There's also a step available, and then it will redirect you to add that worksite placement through the career plan. We also have uploads. So if you want to upload any redacted eligibility documentation or employment verification or any of those documents related specifically to this particular customer, you can do that here. So all of this information is available, and we do have instructions for all of these items on the partner page. You just have to look for the PDF document or a direct link to the URL. So that was a super quick tour. But I also have on here, I also have my playlist. Where did my playlist go? Oh, all of the tutorials are down here at the bottom in a playlist so that you can watch the recording for what it is that you're trying to complete in the tool itself. So how did that tour go for you? Okay. All right, let's see if, okay, so I see
Dee, this is Tanya Odom at Red Lake College. I was one of
Yes.
the ones that had an email this last week.
Sure, go ahead. If it's not about a specific customer, we'll answer it while we're still recording.
Yeah, no, it's not about a specific customer. We have a new coordinator on board, and I'm trying to get him
Yes.
add a partner to the group. And when I do that, it tells me he's already been added, but he's not showing up in my list.
Yeah, and that seems to be a glitch. So once we stop recording, I also don't want his birth date.
Sure.
So once we stop recording, I'll try and add him and see if I get that same error.
Okay.
And then I'll take that to our programmer.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. So Betty, we're going to probably have to look to see if the same thing that Tanya's asking about the user, we're going to have to look to see if we need to add you as a user as well. And Debbie, you wrote in here about a dollar amount change on your grant funding. I am not privy to that. I am only privy to the date extensions Chase has, or Lorraine has those dollar extensions. So if that needs to be updated on here, I just need that information given to me and we can get that updated.
I mean, it was updated on the financial side, but in those systems, I just wasn't sure if it had to be updated in here as well.
Like on this grant amount right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can be, it doesn't, to me, this number is just a base.
Okay.
I'm more concerned about this actual enrollment number now that we have the grants associated or will have the grants
Correct.
associated with the customers, then we just need to pull those numbers in, like who's enrolled with which grant. That's the number that I want to make sure that the system is grabbing properly based on those enrollments.
Perfect. I just thought I'd ask because you had that screen up and it triggered my brain to say, oh yeah, I was going to ask about that. So thank
Yeah.
you.
No problem. All right, are there any other questions that I can answer for you before we stop the recording and go live?
This is Emily Perks again with Mantricon.
Yes, ma'am.
Just to clarify, I know we turned in one narrative for the work plan for the quarterly reporting, but we do have an intermediary and a navigator grant. I'm
Right.
correct in saying that we only turn in one narrative. Is that correct?
Well, right now, until we get
Okay.
this change pushed to production,
Okay.
you only have one plan. The
Okay.
goal was to be able to select your grant number so that you could
Sure.
have a work plan for each.
Okay.
So today's Wednesday, right? So if it gets pushed to production, I will let Chase know, and he and I will work together to get those, because you and St. Clair both have two grants. So we'll work to get those put up there.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Chase, did you have anything you wanted to share with the group?
Without looking exactly who's all on, just a reminder that all those quarter reports were due on Monday. I have gotten most of them. There's still a few stragglers out there, so I'll be sending up a follow-up email out. But yeah, well, to everyone on the call, yeah, just a reminder that those were due on Monday.
So Emily, what you may want to do is send the narrative for each of them to Grant or to Chase, and then that way we can just get them entered when we get the other grant entered.
Well, we just put it all together. So we did
Oh.
put them. So it's actually was just me performing intermediary and navigator. So there wasn't really two different roles yet. So at this time we put it all together. So we submitted it all with the narrative for the grant number we had in the system. So it technically all is submitted. There wouldn't be another one for us to submit for this quarterly reporting.
Okay.
We just put it all together in one.
All right. Is that cool with you, Chase?
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. We can pull the information we need out when we separate them.
All right. All right, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks for watching, everyone. And we'll go to those individualized questions that we need to do.